Waller's a dog, man. But never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it.
Las Vegas Raiders tight end Darren Waller has been receiving some serious shade this entire season while dealing with a hamstring injury. So what's going on? Did he get paid and just dip out on the Raiders? Has he been faking injuries and is this all a cover-up? Or is it truly a nagging hamstring injury? I think the medical perspective is one that can clear the air, and as a Raiders fan, I'm excited to share that today we'll be discussing the facts and what the medical science supports. In order to do that, we have to ask two fundamental questions.
How do hamstring injuries happen, and why do they take so long to heal? More on this coming up. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Dr. Nav Badesha. If you guys enjoy the medical science behind different sports injuries, please be sure to subscribe. Let's make sure we understand the hamstring muscles, the tendons, and their overall function. Traditionally, the hamstring is made up of three muscles: the biceps femoris, the semitendinosus, and the semimembranosus. The overall function of these muscles is to allow for hip extension, knee flexion, and knee rotation. When you combine these motions into one fluid motion, it's literally how you run. You can imagine how and why this muscle is essential in nearly all competitive sports.
Especially for an explosive 6'6", 250-pound athlete like Waller, who runs a 4.440.
There are two common ways the hamstring muscles can be injured. One is by fast running motion, and two is via overstretch.
For Darren Waller's injury, we're going to be focusing on the fast running motion hamstring pull, since that's the one he most likely suffered from. It's important to note a hamstring pull, a hamstring tear, and a hamstring strain can all be used interchangeably, and we'll discuss that here later.
Here is former Carolina Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey sustaining a hamstring injury that knocked him out for about 7.5 weeks in 2021. You'll see as he plants his foot and then rapidly accelerates, there may have been a tear somewhere in this hamstring. Proximal injuries, which are up here, are more common than distal injuries, regardless of the muscle involved. This rapid deceleration and acceleration leading to a hamstring injury is one example of a fast-running motion strain. Most injuries occur in the musculotendinous junction around this area, which is a 10 to 12 centimeter transition zone in which the muscle merges with tendon. But theoretically, it can tear anywhere in this muscle complex. If we go all the way up to the origin of the hamstring muscles, they connect with the bone of the ischium. Injuries like tendon avulsion also typically involve this area. Avulsion is just when this tears off, and then distally, the tendons connect to both sides of the knee. The muscle here, the bicep femoris, is the most common site of strain during hamstring injuries. Grade 1 strain is a minor muscle tear. You will see minimal or no strength loss. A grade 2 is a partial muscle tear. You will definitely see a loss of strength. And grade 3 is a severe complete rupture where you will have complete loss of muscle function. If a strain is here in the muscle belly in this region, it typically heals well, but if the strain includes the tendon, you may have a problem because the body doesn't heal tendons very well, so tendon injuries can take longer to heal. They may also be at increased risk of re-injury. These tendons also tend to scar down, especially in the veteran players that are over 30. The primary complication after a hamstring injury is the increased risk of re-injury at the same muscle. Most studies show athletes with a previous hamstring injury are 2 to 6 times more likely to suffer recurrent strains. Prognostically, recovery time depends on a number of things. Which muscle was it and where was it? This is why they're highly variable. One of the predicaments is when the hamstring is nearing 80 to 90%, some athletes may not feel any pain or any deficits until they push themselves back into their game speed, which is often when re-injury occurs. This is not an injury that players can just play through, and if they're not given an adequate time to heal initially, you'll likely end up spending twice as long as originally planned.
Which unfortunately has been the case for Waller this 22-23 NFL season. If you recall, this preseason, he was mentioned to have suffered a hamstring injury, which I believe may have been a grade 1 strain to start. He played the first 4 weeks on that thing, and many fans, including myself, noticed something seemed a little off with his productivity. He went on to re-aggravate this hamstring against Kansas City week 5. Following that week, when we had games, he was logging limited practices, and he was literally a game time decision every single week until the week after week 9, where he reportedly re-aggravated it for likely a 3rd time. At that point, the Raiders threw him on IR. In my opinion, Waller trying to play through the hamstring, then re-aggravating it at least what seems like 3 times, eventually led to a grade 2 strain near the tendon, and shutting him down at this point was the right thing to do. What likely happened was Darren Waller himself pushed himself to be out on the field earlier than he should have, which eventually led to this taking so much longer than it could have. I understand to Raiders fans it's been frustrating to watch, and it's been frustrating to not have Waller out there, especially because we had such high expectations this year. But I do want to offer this perspective because it's more likely than a lot of the conspiracies that are being thrown around. With that said, Waller is rumored to have mentioned earlier this week that he's nearly 100% recovered. I really do hope that he comes back and he goes off once he's healthy enough to do so.
That's it for the video today, guys. Please leave your questions and comments below, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new. See you next time.